Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Ravemen FR500 dual side mounting bike headlight. Ravemen's FR series of lights started with the FR160 as a compact sandwich style light for daytime visibility that could sit between your out front mount and your bike computer. With the new FR500 version, Ravemen has added a lot more output with two focused LEDs to make this both daytime and nighttime visible, and a larger battery and higher output to match that. Packaging wise, you can see very simple. You have the orange and black color scheme that Ravemen always has, all the specs here, and a really nice cutout in the front that lets you actually see the light and the lens. I'll go ahead and open this up and we'll go over the full specs. So retail price on this is $64.95. There also is a $69.90 version that includes a GoPro bottom mount. As the name implies, you have 500 lumen output, so quite a bit brighter than the original version. You have the same dual mounting design, so you can put this underneath an out front mount, underneath it, on top, put a computer on top, so tons of options. And they even have that optional GoPro that lets you put the GoPro underneath this as well. With this version, you have two focus LEDs instead of the cob strip like you have with the other versions. And you have a large 2000 milliamp internal battery with USB Type-C charging and run times that range from 2.5 hours to 24.5, depending on which mode you use. As far as what comes with it, obviously you get the light itself. You can see quite a bit bigger. It has the safety tether pre-attached. You have a little warranty card, instruction manual. They also include not only a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, but also a USB-C to micro USB, which is a little bit unusual. So if you have an older charging port, you can actually use this converter. We have the Garmin Wahoo version, so you can see we get an additional top puck with the screws, and then the bottom one for Wahoo mounting, with the Garmin ones pre-attached on the top and bottom. Now let's take a look at the weight of the light. So the light by itself with the safety tether pre-attached is 101 grams. Visually, the Ravemen FR500 retains the same distinctive shield-like shape as the other FR lights. Same plastic body, same wraparound lens design, and you have the dual mounting, so you have the female Garmin on top and the male Garmin on the bottom. With this one, you have 500 lumens of output, so it's definitely brighter. You get focused LEDs, and it's a lot bigger in just about every other dimension because of the larger battery and the dual LEDs. So you can see now it's about 29 millimeters thick, which is about 1.1 inches, so definitely a lot harder to hide compared to the lot slimmer FR160. Otherwise, similar plastic body. You can see the little bevels along the edges. Ravemen FR500 printed on the top. On the bottom, you actually have aluminum. So there's a little heat dissipation section here to help the battery dissipate the heat and the heat from the LEDs. And then you have the other Garmin mount here. You can see there's two bolts. There's also two hidden bolts underneath us, so you can switch these out for the Wahoo version, and that'll flip it over. So it will work with a Wahoo computer on the top, a Wahoo computer on the top, or a Wahoo mount on the bottom. Otherwise, you can see you have a power button on the left side. It is illuminated, so the color will tell you the battery status. The back side, you have USB Type-C port, and you can actually use a C to C cable or the USB-C to micro USB to charge your devices, so it has the power bank functionalities with a 2000 milliamp battery in here. The other side's empty, and then you can see the tether on here is pre-installed, and it's a nice way to prevent this from falling off if you had an issue with your mount, as this is a little bit heavier. Just like the other FR lights, these are really designed to be sandwiched between your computer and other devices, so you can mount this on top, and then you can put your computer directly on top of that, but you can see definitely a lot thicker with the 1-inch thick one, even something large like the IGS 800 from IGP Sport. It does hide it dimensionally, but from the side, it's very obvious you have the light on there, but still a really nice sleek way to mount everything, and it keeps your bottom mount open for any other accessories. With this light, it is a directional light now, as the LEDs are angled downward, so you do not want to just take this and flip it upside down, as this will actually be pointed upward now and you really have to drastically angle it downward. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep it on top and then mount accessories above it. But still a sleek design, but definitely bigger. So a lot harder to hide. The lens is the other big change here. So you can see instead of having cob LEDs, it actually just has 2 focused LEDs. And you can see the side lens is not actually illuminated. It's just illuminated from the side reflection of the main LEDs. You can see there's these horizontal diffusers built in. So that helps spread the beam to the left and right, but otherwise very simple beam. And if you look at the shape, you can see it is angled downward. So you have a little bit of a cutoff, but it's not a true sharp beam cutoff. The beam also really blends into with each other, so it's a nice thing with the horizontal diffusers. Instead of 2 distinct circles, they blend together and it'll help you actually see on the roads, especially if you're an urban commuter or you're going at slower speeds at night. 500 lumens can definitely be enough. The user interface is also really simple. Single power button, 3 states. It's either green, red, or flashing red. Has a lot of lights. That means it's a little bit of a crapshoot, so it's 40% to 100 when it's green, 5% to 40 if it's red, and it flashes red when it's under 5%. If you hold the power button, it turns on, and then you can cycle through the different modes. There's 3 constant modes and 3 flash modes. So really simple to operate in mode memory. So if you hold it, turn it off, then turn it on again, it'll remember what mode it was in. Here you can see the FR500 installed on our bike, and with the thicker design of this light, you can see it definitely stands out more. It's not nearly as clean as the FR160 or the 300. It's more of a gap between the GPS and the light, and then the light itself is fairly thick, so you definitely want a lower out front mount so your computer isn't so high up as it is here. But it still is fairly sleek, and it's a nice design that lets you put the computer on top. As far as output modes, there's 3 constant modes. You get full 500 in the high mode, and then you have medium and low. The runtimes obviously go up as the power goes down. And then there's also 3 flash modes. You have the full 500 lumens in the daytime flash with a really long 36-hour runtime, fast flash with 300 lumen, and then a slow flash which gives you the 150 lumen. As far as nighttime riding, you can definitely ride at night with this light. Now that it has focused LEDs instead of cob, you can see you have a nice illumination from the bike. This is the full 500 lumen mode, and with the GoPro, everything always looks a little dimmer, so just imagine this a little bit brighter. You can ride with it, but at higher speeds, you'd want a light with a little bit more output. 500 lumens is kind of pushing it. It's appropriate for nighttime riding, but again, if you're doing faster riding, really dark trails, you're going to want 1,000 lumens or even brighter to get a little bit more output out of it. What I really like about these lights, though, is the daytime flash mode. So you can see here, it's a nice way to get daytime visibility. And if you start really early, you can actually use this light to get extra visibility, or if your ride ends up running late, the nice thing about the FR500 has enough power to get you home, so you're not going to be trying to ride around with a very dim light. So it's a good compromise. Obviously thicker, doesn't look as good, but it still has a nice compact design. So it's a nice kind of in-between light. Something you use early morning or as the night gets a little bit darker, but you still get that daytime visibility. I actually reviewed all of the FR lights. So you can see here, if I stack them all onto each other, you can see a really nice size comparison. So this is the 160, the 300, and then the 500. You can see they all have very similar shape, but the 500 is obviously quite a bit thicker. The 160 is probably the most true one to a real sandwich light. It's very slim. Gives you some daytime visibility with the wraparound lens, but it's still very easy to hide. With the 300, it got a little bit thicker, longer, and then the 500 is quite a bit thicker. The real big difference with these is the fact that you now have the focused LEDs rather than just the cob LEDs. So you can see with this one, you get a nice uniform illumination with the single LED strip, but you don't really have nice visibility from longer distances as it's more of a glow. With the 500, you can see now you get that focus light and you can actually see on the road. So you can see if I turn off the 500, you really can't see anything with the 300. It really just is a glow. It doesn't really have any focus light. So that's really a big difference. You actually have some nighttime visibility. It's not the brightest light on the market, so if you're doing faster paced riding, I would recommend a dedicated light. But if you're an urban rider, the 500 lumens is enough. If you have brighter trails, you're not going higher speeds, This is a nice way to have the extra illumination without a bigger light. But you can see the side's definitely grown quite a bit. Fabric Lumen was probably the first one. We don't have that here, but other companies have kind of copied this design. Here we have the Coospo BLC. So similar concept, and again, shield design. This one has a cool, almost brushed finish. And you can see the wraparound lens on the Coospo as well. They're both power banks, so you get that additional functionality. But the cool thing about the Coospo is it's a lot thinner, but it does have an odd lens. It doesn't really wrap all the way around like the Ravemen does. And then this one, you do have a plastic cover to put the top mount rather than having it built in. Magicshine also has the HORI 900. So this one actually has dual mounts, so I've removed one of them. But you can see, if you orient it correctly with the logos upward, you can actually put this underneath or flip the mount around and then put something on top of it. But it has a similar issue that it's fairly thick. The cool thing about the HORI though is that you actually have a sharp beam cutoff, so you can see dual cob LEDs for daytime visibility, and then you get a nice sharp beam cutoff. So it's a much more advanced lens with this aspherical design. You can see it looks like a kind of egg shape compared to the more standard lens here with just horizontal diffusers. But they're both a little bit thick, but the nice thing about this one is the wraparound design. This one really has no side visibility. So the FR150 is definitely a nice compromise. Gives you more visibility, but again, a little bit thicker than the original lights. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Ravemen FR500. What we like about it is you have dual-sided mounting. You can put a computer on top and then put this on top of your out front mount for a nice clean installation. It also has a wraparound lens, which has great side visibility, so this is nice for urban riding where cars might be on the side and not see the front of the light. You also get the brighter output with the two focused LEDs with this model, unlike the other ones which are cob LEDs, so you actually do get a little beam pattern on the ground rather than just a glow of the cob LEDs. The negatives of this light is the fact that it does have a bulky form factor. With the higher output and the thicker size, it definitely stands out, so it's not nearly as sleek as the FR160, but that is the cost of having nighttime visibility. You also don't have any adjustment for the beam angle, so you really have to adjust your entire mount if you want to adjust the beam angle, which is one downside to this kind of fixed design. Taking everything into account, we'd give the FR500 an 8.8 out of 10. It's a nice compromise between daytime and nighttime visibility with the compact sandwich style form factor. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at sweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.